Hi, I'm Brooke Glazer, and today I'm going to be showing you how to draw 4 unique cat faces. I'm going to be using the iPad app Procreate, but you can also follow along with pencil and paper. If you're new to Procreate, I highly recommend my very popular Intro to Procreate class. You can find a link in the description below. I've shared the exact colors I'm using in the description of this video, but you're always welcome to use your own colors. I'm going to start by creating a square canvas. I'll go with a canvas that's 8 inches by 8 inches. So I'm going to split my square canvas into fourths. So I'm just going to draw a straight line. I'm going to draw a straight line, hold my pen until it snaps into a fully straight line, and then I'm going to start on my first cat face. Now I am using a cross, and I want to use different crosses for different cats. So I'm using this line that goes across, the horizontal cross, and I'm putting it a little bit lower down on the cross. And I'm creating a rounded shape at the top, kind of like a half circle, and I want it to come to a point on those edges where they meet, because I kind of like the idea of the cat's faces being kind of pointy on the edges. Now for the nose, I'm just going to make an upside down triangle. It's kind of curved, and for the eyes, they're just circles. And they are along the horizontal axis line. So that's where I'm going to put my faces. Where this cross meets is where the nose is going to be, and where the eyes are going to be is going to be on either side of that. Now I'm just playing around with different triangle shapes for the cat's ears, and I kind of like these rounded, sort of big-ish kind of cat ears. All I really want to do is make sure that all of my cat's ears are a little bit different from each other, and that they kind of, I think that they look nice with the cat that I'm drawing, the face of the shape. Now for these stripes, they're just basically curvy triangles. They are not all the same length, and that is the key point here. So on the side here, I'm going to draw ones that are a little bit longer and a little bit shorter. And just making sure that the sizes are a little bit different is going to help create some visual interest to this cat. And I'll draw some whiskers on here. I'm not drawing them all the way to the nose, but you could draw them all the way to the nose. So like I said, I want to draw my second cat so that its face is a different shape. So this time I think I will make the crossbar a little bit higher up. And again, I kind of like that it sort of comes to a point. And I kind of want to make like these little like puffy cheeks on the side, like they're kind of like triangular shapes on the side of the cat's face. As I go through this, you're going to see that I actually changed this quite a lot, just kind of playing with the shape. So don't be afraid if you aren't happy with the shape that you have to redraw it and scribble over what you already have. That's no big deal at all. So again, I'm drawing the shapes of the eyes. And this time for the nose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw kind of like an upside down U sort of shape. And then let me zoom in here. What I'll do, I'll draw that upside down U shape. I'll put like a normal shaped U in the middle of that line, and then kind of just make little tiny ovals on the side to create that little nostril look. And the mouth, you could think of them as like J's. So if you remember, I said for these ears, I really want them to be different. So these ones I'm kind of making really tall and a little bit more pointy. And I'm going to draw just kind of like, again, almost U shapes for the eyes. And I'll put some little markings on this cat. This one, I like to think of things in like U's and half circles. So if that helps you decide where you want to put your markings, that sounds fine. So what I'm doing now is I am making a selection of this cat face, and then I am going to the transform tool, and on the bottom there you see like I'm switching between uniform and distort, and I'm just kind of squishing and squashing his face to kind of see if like I like a different, if I like his face a little wider, a little bit shorter, you know, just playing around with that. And then again, we're adding whiskers. So for our third cat, I think what I want to do is make his face a lot longer than it is tall. So I'm going to make it a lot wider. So this crossbar is going to be way longer. And for this nose, I'm going to make a circle. And I'm also going to put his mouth a lot closer to his nose than I have for the other two cats. And this is also going to be a way that I can create a little bit of difference between these cats. And for his ears, they're going to be a little bit more round and a little bit smaller and a little bit closer to the midpoint of his face. And I'm just drawing curved lines. The way I think about these markings is I think about each curve as a half circle. If you find this shape difficult to make, try slowing down and focusing on making each section a half circle. It might help you to start from the center of his head and move onto the sides. By the way, I'm also making this face a lot larger because it was way too small. For the fourth cat, I am going to make his face very circular. So I'm drawing the lines, the cross, like basically the same length and height. And I'm using the quick shape, which again, you just draw a circle, don't lift up your pencil, and then it will snap to the quick shape. I'm going to put some hair on the bottom of this cat's neck. You can draw swoopy, curvy shapes. They look kind of like curved triangles to me. Oh, and for this cat's nose, I'm going to draw a heart. And his ears are going to be even smaller still and a little bit further over as well. I'm going to go back to that third cat and I'm going to add some stripes to him. Again, those are just upside down triangles. I don't know, can a triangle be upside down? They're just sideways triangles. Now that I've created my sketch, I'm going to lower the opacity on it. And as you can see, I tapped on the letter next to the layer, the sketch layer, and I lowered the opacity bar that appeared. And then I'm going to create a new layer for me to put the actual color on. So I'm not drawing on the sketch layer, I'm drawing on a brand new layer. And I'm just going to look around and find a brush that I like, that looks fun to use. I'm going to use a slightly textured brush. You can use whatever brush you want. You don't have to use any particular brush. And I'm going to start filling in the yellow of the first cat. And what I want to do is create the outline of the shape first. So I'm making sure that I get exactly the shape that I want. And if I need to edit that, I can. And then I'm going to fill in the circle, fill in this shape with lines in the same direction. So I'm kind of thinking about how these little strokes of color that I'm filling in, they're actually going to show up kind of as lines. So they kind of, I want them to go in the direction that I kind of want the cat hair to go. So if you are using a brush that doesn't have any texture, you might not see these lines, but you definitely will if you do have a brush with texture. Now, before I move on to the next details in this cat, I'm actually going to move on to a different layer. And I'm going to switch brushes because I like to use different brushes for different parts. But I want to make sure that as I begin to fill in the stripes, I am on a separate layer. Now here's a fun trick. What I just did was I selected the layer that has all of the yellow, and I'm drawing on the layer that I'm drawing my stripes on. But what that happens is that because I've made a selection of the yellow portion, I won't be able to draw outside of the lines. I'll only be able to draw inside of where the yellow is. So this is really helpful for letting me just draw really fast and not go outside of where I've already said that I've decided where the cat head is going to be. Now to select a layer, what you want to do is tap on the layer that you want to select and a menu bar will pop up, and then you just need to look for the option that says select. I used a quick gesture shortcut. And there's so many gesture shortcuts in Procreate. I actually made a little cheat sheet for my newsletter subscribers. So if you want to check out that cheat sheet, there's quick visual GIFs that show you exactly how to do these things. You can find that in the description below or at my website, brookelaser.com. So I'm going to switch to a darker color for the eyes. I want to use probably like a darker black. And I'll also use this time to fill in the nose and the inside of the ears and the mouth and the whiskers. Another fun thing I like to do is add little dots of white to the eyes. I like the way that these eyebrow stripes kind of make him look a little like he's smirking a bit. So I'm also kind of moving the mouth so one side is a little bit larger and curved more inwards and the other side is a little bit smaller. Now we're ready to start working on the second cat. So I'll put a layer of a pale yellowish brown down for his whole face. And I put that on the same layer as the yellow of the first cat's face. And as I do the markings on the second cat's face, I'm going to be doing that on the same layer that I was doing the markings for the yellow cat as well. So one of these markings I'll make black and one of them I'll make red. And I'm going to make the ears beside them the same color. And then I'm going to move up to a third layer, and that's where I'm going to fill in the inside pink of the ears. The reason I do this is it makes it really easy to change my mind later if I want the ears to be a different color or if I want the inside of the ears to be a different color. I'm going to move back down to the markings layer and fill in the eyes. I'm using the same dark yellow for the eyes that I was using for the stripes on the last cat. I'll also fill in the nose. And then again, I'm going to move up to the third detail layer so that I'm not drawing the darks of the eyes on the yellow portion. I'm drawing them on a fresh new layer. And then I will fill in the details of the mouth and the whiskers, and I will make a fourth layer to add the white of the eyes. Now you might remember that I said I wasn't too happy with the shape of this cat's face. So you're going to see me playing around and trying a bunch of different things. What I ended up doing was creating more of a rounded top half of the cat's head and then creating small triangles on either side of the cat's head. And that meant that I needed to redraw and erase portions of the white brownish color and also the black markings on the cat. And then I also started to erase and just refine the bottom part of his chin. And I ended up happy with just kind of like a small half circle on that side. But all this to say that you don't have to do exactly what your sketch is. You can always refine this, and it's totally fine if you don't make it right, quote unquote right, the first time that you do something. It's okay to fiddle around and adjust and play. Okay, onward to the Shaggy Cat, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw in the yellow portion on the very bottom layer where the yellow of the other cat and the white of the other cat was, and I'm going to use lines that go in the direction that I think the cat hair should go. And then I'll move up a layer and draw some lines for the eyes, but also the hair. I'm going to draw some lines for the hair and maybe his chin, and kind of draw some darker lines to really indicate that this is hair. Then I'll go ahead and fill in his cute heart nose and the inside of his ears and the white of his eyes. And, you know, as I look at this guy's face, I'm kind of thinking, you know, maybe it should be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to select all of the features, and if they're on multiple layers, I'm going to select multiple layers. And then I will use the transform tool to make it a little bit larger. And then to our final cat, my camera died halfway through this, so we are going to switch to the iPad screen only, so you won't be able to see my hands. Sorry about that. But again, I started with the white of the face on the lower layer, and then the orange on the markings layer. And then I added the eyes and the nose and the whites of the eyes and the whiskers and the inside of the ears. I even added some cute little freckles here at the end. I'm going to turn the visibility of the sketch layer off by hitting the check mark on the layer that the sketches are on. And I have made some fun little cat faces. I hope that you enjoyed this. I would absolutely love to see what you guys are doing. If you are on Instagram, please tag me at Paper Playgrounds or use the hashtag #DrawWithBrooke. This is a really rough explanation of how I draw. I have a full class showing exactly how I draw, and I also have a full class in how to use Procreate. And if you're interested in either of those, you can find them in the link in the description below. Thanks for joining along with me, you guys. I can't wait to see what you create.